everyone, welcome to my new channel, Critique Quest. We're here, we finally made it! Today I'm going to be talking about Dragon Age Inquisition, but before I get started I just want to say a massive thank you to those of you who've already subscribed to this channel before I posted up a video. Your faith in me is staggering, and the support that you've shown me this week has been absolutely incredible. So thank you. Massive shout out to GASHEAD Steve here on YouTube for being the first liker of my Critique Quest page, which sounds silly, but I know what I mean. Again, thank you for your support, much appreciated. Now before I actually get started with this review, I want to let you know that I haven't finished the game yet. I've played about 60-70 hours across multiple characters so far. It's a pretty big game, so think of this review as more of a first thoughts or an initial impressions. So as always, let's get started with story. Now I think the Dragon Age Inquisition is the closest in spirit to Origins without actually being Origins. For a start, it continues this rich narrative tapestry of mythologies and histories. I mean, it really builds on the foundation set in previous games, and whilst going in new directions, it stays faithful to those foundations. As an example, we see the return of the Grey Wardens, a kind of medieval super soldier if you're not familiar, but we also get to experience high society for the first time in Orlais. Secondly, the cast of characters, some old, some new, are all highly likeable, complex and interesting in the same ways that I felt made Alistair and Sten unforgettable allies. The cast of characters in Dragon Age 2 were missing that it factor, that's something that made me want to learn more about them. In Inquisition, there's not only a variety of different personalities at work, each with truly diverse backgrounds, but a variety of qualities you can respect within each individual. So whether or not you agree with their viewpoints really makes no difference. They're all admirable in their own ways. Romances too, another strength within Dragon Age's narrative, is handled with a lot more sincerity this time around. Much like the rest of the game, I feel like this aspect has matured somewhat, and even though each romanceable option offers something entirely different, every scenario is handled with more care. There's also a huge improvement in the cinematic moments. It's taken all of the great things seen in previous Dragon Age titles and breathed new life into it. The quality of the writing, beats within the dialogue, and comedic timing has increased in quality tenfold. Where you get a victory line in the final battle in Origins, you get a symbolic chant in the mountains towards the very beginning of Inquisition, and many more spine-tingling moments after. The origin stories, however, seemingly act as more of a backdrop this time around, a kind of encyclopedic profile of your character. Now, where Origins succeeded in crafting an entirely new experience based on your character's race and upbringing, Inquisition lets you define your character throughout interactions in the game. For example, as a human warrior, you're asked whether you're close or not with your family, whether you can cultivate that relationship for the Inquisition. And how you answer is really up to you. Maybe you're close with your family, perhaps not, but this really determines the possibility of more future aid. There is also a kind of subtle ambiguity within the building of your character, which I find to be really unique. A prime example would be your belief and whether or not you believe yourself to be the Herald of Andraste. Many characters across different locations confront you on this issue, forcing you to define your position. And again, this is very much down to the individual playing the game. I personally loved the idea that my character was the Herald, but felt a little uncomfortable just telling everyone it was true, when I myself was undecided. However, somebody else might feel it a necessary evil, to perhaps sacrifice the truth to give others hope. I have yet to find out how impacting these little decisions are on the story at large. All the same though, I find the freedom to add little of yourself into the mix refreshing. But really the whole narrative requires you to engage and think about your personal views on the issues within the Dragon Age universe. And we've seen this in similar games, like Mass Effect for example, through your choices, save or doom the Krogans, save or doom the Council, but it's so much more subtle in this game. It's not quite so black and white, and I think that's what makes the narrative of Dragon Age Inquisition really interesting and exciting. Dragon Age Inquisition really has all the hallmarks of a traditional open-world RPG. You travel, you quest, you level up your character and your party, but despite the kind of routine approach to the genre and the vast scope, the gameplay experience feels refreshingly tight. There are a set number of activities within each area. You can close rifts, set up camps, activate wards, and claim landmarks, all with the idea that you're advancing the reach of the Inquisition. There are also some effective puzzles and a kind of judge, jury and executioner trials to keep you on your toes. There are many quests too that can update, mind you. However, the ratio of these activities and puzzles to quests is balanced in such a way that you never feel you're grinding for XP or just plain bored. Upon completing the tasks that I just mentioned, you earn power points. Now think of these like currency. They buy you freedom to travel across the war table, to discover new locations or embark on new main storyline quests. And things really do get interesting at the war table. Much like the earlier Assassin's Creed games, where you can hire assassins and train them through side missions that continue in real time, here you can conscript people into the Inquisition and send your ambassadors, Cullen, Liliana and Josephine, on real-time tasks. Some are better suited to and faster at the job than others, so there is an element of strategy there, and successful completion of these can earn you influence and boons. You'll also earn Inquisition perks through a similar kind of point system, which allows you to choose different skills from varying fields correlating to an ambassador. For example, Cullen represents the strength and skill of the Templars, so those perks are more power-based. One such example would be an increase in XP after defeating each enemy. Whereas the Inquisition perks are a lot more sort of secretive, so one could increase their carrying capacity through fine tailoring, for instance. You can also modify weapons and armour. Throughout the game you'll have access to many different materials, herbs, metals and minerals, all of which can be used to craft modifications or new tonics and health potions, providing you have the necessary recipes and schematics for these. And these modifications aren't just applied to your core character, but the entire party, which is really useful for shallow people like me who want to create something really useful without sacrificing style. Combat is, I think, the perfect blend of what we saw in Origins and Dragon Age 2. It has a tactical element that allows you to freeze time, oversee the battlefield and command each individual separately, reminiscent of Origins. But the combat itself is sturdy and fast-paced, with or without a balanced party a la Dragon Age 2, and it's just as satisfying should you not opt to go the tactical route. The only real downside would be that because of the scope, it can get a little confusing as to where you've got to go and what you've got to do, and what that means in larger terms. I personally sided with the mages on accident, and I'd only realised I'd done this when the Champions of the Just quest was no longer available on the war table. There's also a few glitches, but nothing too troublesome, just funny. Honestly, I can see the open world RPG becoming the FPS of the new generation. Because of the processing power of new consoles, increasing scope seems to be taking precedence in AAA titles these days, and if I'm honest, this worried me a little. Ultimately though, if Dragon Age Inquisition is the template for things to come, open world RPGs might just become my new favourite genre. I can find little fault here. Now there were two things on my wishlist for Inquisition, both involving the visuals of the series. First, improved character customization, and second, improved graphical quality, and we got both in abundance. The character customization is incredible, thanks to sliders that can tweak every feature from the width of the nose bridge to the positioning of the eyes. Basic shapes and presets are fairly limited, but I think it makes little difference. The graphical quality too is superb. It still looks like a Dragon Age game, but this time, it's pretty. Sunlight streams through the trees, the ocean rolls across the stormy horizon and rocks glisten in the rain. Combine this with the detailed and expressive character models and you've got yourself a world you'll want to revisit, maybe even live in. I think what's most impressive, however, is the wide array of visual styles seen in each location. It's obvious that the creators and the artists have drawn inspiration from many different periods and styles throughout history and blended them together and applied them wonderfully. Orlais, for example, not only harks back to the indulgence of the European Renaissance, but exotic locations and palaces of, say, India and Morocco too. Dwarven stone and metalwork faintly echoes Mayan architecture and even Art Deco, should it have no spherical shapes to speak of. And tarot cards and paintings could be likened to portraits from the Middle Ages. More importantly though, these styles are mixed about to great effect. For example, to wander a stone castle with pewter cups and heavy drapes, to find a tribal totem of a Mabari hound feels similar yet otherworldly in just the right ways. Now onto the score. I like the score very much. I may even love it. At the moment I'm undecided because I haven't really heard it in its entirety yet. Maybe I should get a hold of the soundtrack in full and then do a soundtrack review separately. Thoughts? Overall, I am in love with Dragon Age Inquisition. I was a huge fan of Origins, as I'm sure many of you probably are. I played that game many times as many different characters, and I love how they've really taken the series in a new direction, but built on all of the things that made the series great in the first place. They haven't lost really anything, especially narratively and from a gameplay perspective. I'm really happy that Inquisition has won the Game of the Year award, and I really want to say a quick thank you to BioWare for treating gamers like myself to this kind of experience. I'm actually really happy that this is the first review that I'm doing for this channel. I think the only game that would have been better or on par would have been Mass Effect 4. Again though, BioWare. Win-win. So those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. I'm looking to do some really interesting stuff with this channel, so stay tuned, keep your eyes peeled. If you know of anyone who subscribed to my old channel and hasn't sort of moved over to this one yet, let them know, because I really am going to be transferring everything over eventually. Thanks again for all of your support, and I'll see you all soon. Bye! I want to note quickly before I actually get started with this review that I haven't finished Dragon Age Origins yet. Dragon Age Origins. Different skills in varying fields. Different skills in varying fields. That's not gonna work. Poo. What?
I literally went straight up to the trebuchet and started turning it. No one bothered me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What gives? Every time I turned the trebuchet, people came out. That's the point. They come in waves.
Yeah, they were there, but they were attacking everyone else apart from me.
Oh, hang on. No. You haven't finished it yet.
No.
You haven't gotten to, like, the main trebuchet yet. Yeah, no, you haven't done it yet. Huh.